Hey everyone, and welcome. We are diving into something huge today, India's 4 new labor codes. This is seriously one of the biggest shakeups to the workplace in decades, so you're going to want to stick around for this. Let's get right into it.
So, let's just cut to the chase, right? The question that's probably on your mind and everyone else's, with all these new rules, is your take-home pay actually going to get smaller? We're absolutely going to get to the bottom of that.
So here's how we're going to break this all down for you. First, we'll look at why this is all happening, the big reset. Then we'll unpack the 4 new codes themselves. After that, the big one, how your paycheck is changing. We'll also cover the new rules of work, look at the very real challenges of making this happen, and wrap it up with a clear roadmap for what to do next.
All right, first things first, India's big workplace reset. I mean, why go through the trouble of completely overhauling laws that have been on the books for, in some cases, 100 years?
Well, the main reason is pretty simple: simplification. The old system was, well, it was a mess. A real tangled web of 29 different central laws, many of them totally out of date for the modern world. The whole point here is to swap that incredible complexity for just 4 streamlined, unified codes.
And yeah, this timeline really tells the story, doesn't it? The original laws came from a completely different economic era, way back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Fast forward to 2019 and 2020, Parliament finally passes these new codes, kicking off a truly historic shift for work in India.
Okay, so you've got this mess of old laws. What replaced it? Well, that brings us to the 4 new codes. You can basically think of these as the brand new official rule book for pretty much everyone who works in India.
Think of it like 4 new pillars holding up the entire framework. You've got the code on wages, which is all about how you get paid. The Industrial Relations Code, that's for unions and company restructuring. Then there's the Code on Social Security. This one is a total game changer, especially for gig workers. And finally, the OSHWC Code, which covers safety and health. Together, they touch nearly every single part of your job.
Okay, now for the part I'm sure you've been waiting for, the part that hits your wallet. Your paycheck is changing, and it all comes down to a brand new definition of the word wages and what that means for your total salary package, or your CTC.
So this is the most important part to understand. There's now one single definition for wages across all the codes. It's your basic pay plus something called dearness allowance. But here is the absolute kicker. Every other allowance you get, HRA, travel, special allowances, you name it, all of those combined cannot be more than 50% of your total pay. And this chart, it just makes it crystal clear. You see, before, companies could load up your salary with all sorts of allowances, which often lowered how much they had to contribute to things like your retirement fund. Now, that's not an option. Your basic wages have to be at least half of your total compensation. That's the new rule.
So what's the bottom line for your money? Well, it's a trade-off, plain and simple. Since that wages part of your salary is now bigger, your mandatory contributions to things like your Provident Fund and gratuity go up too. So yes, that probably means a little less cash in your bank account each month. But the flip side is a much, much bigger retirement nest egg waiting for you in the long run.
But hey, this isn't just about the money. Not by a long shot. That brings us to the new rules of work. We're talking about everything from your weekly schedule to finally recognizing the gig economy.
I mean, check out some of these shifts. A 4-day work week? That's now actually on the table, as long as you still hit the 48-hour weekly limit. If you work overtime, you have to be paid double your normal wage. Women can now work night shifts, but only with their consent and with safety measures in place. And in a move that's long overdue, gig workers are finally, formally, being brought into the Social Security system. And this isn't just some vague promise either. We're talking about real money. The big platforms and aggregators now have to contribute between 1% and 2% of their yearly turnover into a Social Security fund just for their gig workers. That puts some serious financial weight behind the policy.
You really can't overstate what a huge deal this is. We're talking about millions of people who, until now, had virtually no safety net. For the very first time, they're getting access to things like insurance, maternity leave, and retirement benefits. It's a massive step forward.
Okay, but let's be real. A change this massive, it's not going to be perfectly smooth. There are bound to be some growing pains. So let's talk about the challenges on the ground, because rolling this out is anything but simple.
And here's where things start to get complicated.
because labor is what's called a concurrent subject in India, which means both the central government and the state governments have to make their own rules. And as you can see, it's a real patchwork out there. Some states are ready, some have drafts, some are still pending. For any company that works across state lines, this is a major headache.
And yeah, the list of challenges is pretty long. For employers, costs are going up because of those higher PF and gratuity payments. They have to completely rebuild their payroll systems from the ground up. Small businesses in particular might really struggle with all this. On top of that, some unions are worried about worker protections, and then there's the huge task of just explaining to every employee why their paycheck looks different.
And this really sums it all up, doesn't it? On one hand, everyone loves the idea of more flexibility and simpler laws. But on the other hand, businesses are definitely nervous about the higher costs and the sheer complexity of navigating that state-by-state implementation puzzle.
So with all this change and complexity, what are you supposed to do? Well, let's get practical in our last section here. This is your compliance roadmap. Clear, actionable steps for anyone in HR or running a business.
Okay, if you're in a position to make changes, here are 3 things you absolutely need to do, like right now. First, audit every single salary structure in your company. Make sure you are following that 50% rule for everyone. Second, update everything. Contracts, offer letters, company handbooks. It all needs to reflect the new laws. And third, take this opportunity to go digital. The new codes encourage electronic records and payslips, so now is the time to make that switch.
Look, at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. You can't just wait and see what happens. Companies that are proactive, that adapt their systems now, and most importantly, that are transparent with their employees about these changes, those are the ones that are going to have a smooth transition.
And so we're left with this massive question, aren't we? Are these new codes a truly modern framework that will set up India's workforce for a better future? Or is it, at least for now, just a huge compliance nightmare? The truth is, for the next few years, it's probably going to be a little bit of both. Thanks for tuning in.